Very quickly, we are going to learn a few things about referencing. It's called referencing, how Excel references by default. We've got different types of references. We've got absolute reference, and we've got the reference that Excel does by its default. All of a sudden, I forgot how that is called. I had it in my head just now, but it flew off. The absolute reference is the one that's coming to me right now. But if anyone can remember, please remind me. We've got absolute reference, and there's one other one, which for some reason just decided to clear off. But before I talk about referencing or not, let's quickly look at filling up, this box that we are going to be formatting in a minute. Okay, I want to format, this such that we can do some work in here. Okay. So, oh, sorry, I should have even explained that. I'm going to undo what I just did now. So I just want to put some sort of form of border around some lines there. And where to do that, if you need to, change the border lines around your Excel cells, we come under home. It's this icon here where you have under font, you got bold, italicized, or italics, underline, and here you've got these borders. So if we click the drop down button of it, we've got different functions of it, the different choices, rather, options that you can pick from. If, say, I just want to highlight the bottom border of the cell I've highlighted, I'm just going to click there, and if I click out, we can see it's highlighted the bottom of it. And like I said, there's quite a lot of if I want the top part as well, I can do that. If I want it thicker than that, or if I want the whole, not just the outside now, if I want everywhere thickened up or highlighted more, a bit bolder than the actual Excel lines that we can see, I can go on and use all borders. I didn't pick anything before. Okay, I picked this and it's highlighted all the borders around this box. Okay, so whichever box you have highlighted, it will definitely go on to do what you have commanded it to do. In this case, I want a thick outside border. Okay, so I'll use it for this, and we can see that very visible line around that. And I want to do the same, for all of the ones here. Okay, so I do want some inside and a bit thicker on the outside as well. So I want that, and here we have that. I'm going to undo or remove this one, and the quickest way I want this part here to look like the rest, the other ones, because I didn't mean to highlight that before. So what I would normally do is I click on this, right, and I come onto the formatting paintbrush. The format painter copies any form of formatting that's on the cell that you have picked up, and then it copies. So I'm going to click on it, it copies it, and immediately I move it to around the cells around the Excel sheet. We can see that picture, like or that image, like a paintbrush. So and we can see how the cell that I highlighted before has got those dotted dancing lines around it, which means it's been picked up. So, and it's expecting me to click on where I want to copy that, paste that formatting. So I've copied it by, clicking on the cell itself, came onto the format painter, and now this is where I want to change. So I click on that, and now we see that it's gotten, the sort of formatting that was on this. Let's do a bit more of that. So I'm clicking here, and I want to copy the format or the formatting that's on this cell. So if I click once and I go on to apply it on wherever I want it, we see that that blue is copied. If I type in, let's see if the white font would be copied as well into this cell. Okay, so when I type in, the white font on the font here, on the text here, was also copied along. Okay, so let's say I've got quite a lot of cells to paste the formatting on. I'll just do that. Rather than click the format painter once, I'll click it twice. Okay, and when I click it twice, I can go on and keep applying it to as many cells that I need it to be as possible. It will keep working until I come back here to click again, to deactivate or disable, that formatting that was copied. That's how to use that to quickly, just to, again, make your work quicker or make you more efficient, rather than you keep doing the same thing. You can easily just do just one and then copy around as many as possible where you want that change to occur. That was just by the wayside, is the referencing that I was going to talk about. So we've got the absolute.
Kim has given you the name of your.
Thank you. I knew somebody would help. Thank you. Relative. Relative is the words that I've been looking for in my brain. So it's relative and absolute referencing. And what do we mean by this? Okay, so say I have 15. Let's say I've got 15 here, and I've got 10 here. Okay. And I've got 20 here, just random numbers I'm making up now. And I've got 3 here. Okay. Okay. And what I want to do is multiply this by this. Okay. So we know that we just go on to do our equal to sign just to bring, activate the formula bit of Excel. Okay. And I'll click on this cell that I want to multiply, then my multiplication shift sign, star rather, and I click on this. Okay. And I enter that, and that works. Okay. And if I copy that formula down, it goes on to do the next line as well. Now watch this. If I click on here and we look in the formula bar, we see that it's telling us that I12 was multiplied by J12. We go on to the next one. I13 got multiplied by J13. So that is what we call relative referencing. That is, by default, when you apply a formula, Excel moves down, and you want the formula to be filled down. It moves down by changing each cell, and you will see that from the formula. Let's say we've got more work here to do, like we did here. Then we'll keep seeing something like, for here it will be I14 times J14, I15 times J15, I16 times J16, and so on and so forth. Okay, by default, that's what Excel would do when you're applying your formula. And that is what we call relative referencing. If we look at the taxes here that was calculated, okay, we see E2 times 0.15, E3 times 0.15. Because we hard coded that 0.15 in, we can't really see the power of relative referencing that much with this example, okay? But when we now talk about absolute, sometimes you don't want Excel to move from a particular cell that you are working with, okay? I'm going to go on and delete this. I want to delete this. So Control Shift down. I want to delete all of the work that was done here. And let's use absolute referencing rather than the way that we had coded that in before. Okay, so let's say we've got this as an assignment, and we've got to fill in these boxes, you know, for each one. Okay, and the sales tax, we've been given the sales tax now as 0.15, which was what we had in that cell before. Okay, so 0.15. So basically, I want each of these prices to be multiplied by 0.15. Okay, so what I would normally do equals, then let's pick any, you say sales tax, so let's use sales. So equals the sales multiplied by then the 0.15 that is here, okay? And I'm just gonna press enter to get that in. Now, unlike what we had before, see what has happened, okay? What has happened is this. Excel has gone on to use the idea of relative referencing, which is what it's used to. That's what it will normally do by default, okay? And that's, look at that, when we did this times J2, it believes that the next one should be this times J3. And because there's nothing in J3 to multiply, it's brought 0. And the same thing goes for, can you see J4? The same thing goes for all of that, J6. And because it can find some values in the other J10, okay, that's why we got these values. It just got this from the ones I filled in randomly, okay? And the rest, all zeros as well. Now, how do we command Excel to keep on making reference to this cell of 0.15 so that it's not looking for values all the way down to multiply the rest by? This is where the idea of absolute referencing comes in, okay? Absolute referencing, me saying to Excel, multiply every number in this column just by this one cell. I don't want you to move down. I want you to stay in this cell. So how we do that is that exact cell that you don't want Excel to move from, which is the J2, will come back into the formula. And what I used to do is, because what I need to see there, what's the symbol that depicts absolute reference is the $sign. So it's either you go on and, you know, put the $sign that is on your keyboard in front of J and in front of 2, or you use F4. You know how I said yesterday that my own keyboard, I need to press function to get those, you know, those tiny functions that you have on the first line on your keyboard, the first set of keys on your keyboard, where you've got after escape, you go F1, F2, very tiny, written, you know, at the top left corner of those buttons there, okay? different people get it in different ways. I have to press function before I get mine. I used to think that I would press shift and it would just pick it, but it was not picking it until I recently realized that for Windows, you've got to use the function button, okay? So I'm using the function button to get F4. I just pressed function, the FN button, which is before the Windows button itself, FN and F4. So you can use that to get the $sign to work for you, or let's finish with this. Then we'll look at the option of using the actual $sign itself. So I'll press enter for that, and you see immediately it goes on to multiply each one by exactly that 0.14 without needing to move down and be looking for J3, J4, J5 because the other cells were moving down. That is how we use absolute reference to achieve what we need to achieve. And absoluting in your formula is you telling Excel, stay put in this cell, don't move away from that cell. I don't need this formula to move from that cell, okay? If you don't know how to get the F4, like I said, all you just need to do, let me go back to the first one. All you just need to do is, so I'm removing the dollars the way it has been put for me. What I had there was that, okay? So what I used to do was come here, shift, I use shift and then shift 4 gives the dollar. I put that in front of J, and shift 4 gives me the 1 in front of 2 as well. And that's a slower way of getting it, but it still gets you the answer that you need anyway. But the best way to do it, F4, and that I get by using function and 4 on my keyboard. Is that clear at all? Or do we need more explaining on the idea of absolute referencing? And if there is more contribution on it, it's welcome, please. The floor is open. Any comments, questions, any further explanations? Let's hear you. Let's unmute and talk. Oh.
It's clear to me anyway.
Okay. Is it clear to every other person? There is more.
It's clear to me.
It's clear to you too. Thank you. There's more explanations around absolute referencing, apart from the way that I've said it, but that is just one of the really basic ways to use it. And relative and absolute references are not the only references that are used in Excel. There are a bit more advanced ones, I came across recently. I think at some point we are going to learn those ones as well. Okay. Now, very quickly, let's fill these buttons, these spaces rather, that we need to fill for the assignment that we have been given. So I want to find total sales, and it's this original sales that I want to use. I want to put the total of all of this inside here. I need help with it. Who can help me with the formula that I need to use?
You mean for the total sales, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be, okay. The sales price. Okay, you have the what's that current price? You have the sales price, current price.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see they are the same, right?
Yeah, they are
I'm trying to
mostly the
scan
same.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look
So
the
we can use
same.
any of them, but
Okay.
because this has the word sale, I'm thinking it's more appropriate to use this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's going to be the sales price minus the taxes.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Oh, no. Total sales, right?
Yes, it says total sales.
Oh, so it's going to be, it's going to be that column downwards. The whole of that
Exactly.
column. Yeah.
Yes, just the
I think so.
total, just everything here is what we,
Yeah, total of that column. Yeah.
yes,
Thank you. Yeah.
yes. So how do we find the total of that column?
So you can use equal sum.
Thank you. Equals sum.
You can pick it from D2,
Control
Control
Shift
Shift
down.
arrow. Yeah.
Okay.
And close the bracket. Yeah.
And
Enter.
then we can close the bracket. Okay, and then we can enter that. Okay, and it needs more space. Okay, so that gives us the total sales. The total cost now. How do we find the total cost?
So it's going to be the same for the cost now, but we're going to go to the cost column now.
Okay, so,
So equals sum,
okay,
then C2, Control Shift down area.
okay. Thank you. What of average price?
So that would be equals average.
Yeah,
Then we pick D2,
okay,
Control Shift down arrow.
okay.
But they didn't specify though. Is it cost price or selling price?
Yeah, I'm just comfortable with that only because it's the same, like we said before. It's all the same.
So that data set is a bit funny because for it to be the same throughout,
mm,
is that no duplication of data?
maybe they've got some point at some point when these two
Yeah,
change.
they must have some that's
Yeah,
But they all look the same to me. Oh.
I
There
mean, in
might be
this
just
I've
data
one or
set,
scanned
two
through with
that
my
might
eyes
be the
quickly.
same.
in
I've
this
scanned
data
through.
set,
I
yeah,
can't see anything different.
yes, in this
Well, then
data
the
set,
price is the
well,
same.
maybe within their database, they've got instances where, you
It
know,
was all the same.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that would excuse why they've got this like that. It's my own thinking. Anyway, how about minimum sales? We want to know what is the minimum of these sales column.
Equals minimum.
Yeah. And it's the sales again, isn't it?
Yeah, the sales again, down to the end. Yeah.
Okay. And they say the minimum there is 35. And if we look through, actually, yeah, 35 is the minimum there we can see on top. Okay. And then the maximum now.
Equals max. Then the same from D2 downwards.
Okay. And just to validate that, if we say, let this be from largest to smallest, so we can see the largest, the maximum there is actually that 2497. Okay. So that is correct. Okay. I wanted to remove to clear that sort, but it's not giving me the option here. Maybe I should undo what I did. Okay, undoing it works, so that's fine. And then it's asking for number of products. What should we do with this?
So we have to count now. So equals count.
Count, okay. Equals count. So what should we count?
From B2.
B2. What's the difference between using B2 and B1, A and A or B? Which is the best that we could use?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Let's use product ID. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, product ID.
Yeah, but that's unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the
Let's
primary.
see, it's saying 0.
Oh, because it's in text, it's not going to count it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we need to use B2.
Okay.
Or you use counter. You use another formula called counter.
Is it the count A?
Count A, yeah. The count only counts numbers.
That's right.
Count A counts, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So count A will count text as but count would count. If we were counting this column, count will easily count it. Let's quickly try that here. Equals count. Was there something there?
You spelled it wrongly.
Okay. Let's start that again. Thank you. So equals count, and we say let's count the number of bits. Okay. Okay, so we see we counted the same number, but it's worked for number for count. So count works for counting numbers. Count A would rather be counting text. Let's note that difference very quickly. I think we should quickly do a bit of a Power Query. There's a task I see, which involves.
Sorry, Sister Debbie.
Yes.
How or what does it mean to count text?
Right. You see the data type that we have here, they are not numbers. They are in text format. We can see ENX200, products 1, and look at the alignment. This is normally in Excel. How this is aligned is normally the alignment for text. Let's go into, it says general here, okay? But it's saying, the Excel is saying these other ones as numbers because we formatted them as numbers. So we are talking about the data types now. Data type that is text would only be, if you are counting a data type that is text, in Excel you use count A because ordinary count will not count text. But if you are counting number, you can use count. Let's even try something. If we use count A to count number, would it also work? Let's just do that, that sort of experiment and see if we use count A to count number. Okay, so it worked for counting number. So count A counts both number and text. Count only counts numbers. So it's now your choice.
Sorry, Susan, I have a question. When you select the first cell, do you just press page down to select the entire?
No. So when we select the first cell, then we, on your keyboard, press Control, press Shift, the Shift button, and then the down arrow. So
Ah,
those
okay.
three together take you to the last
Okay.
filled up
Control
cells I
shift
can see.
down. Okay. Page
And the
page
same-
down. Is it
yeah.
page down or just down?
Just
Control
down, not
shift
page,
down, I
not
think.
page down, just down. The those, you know, you got 4 arrows, right, left, top, and down.
Yeah, but they still
Yeah,
put
it's the
page
same as
down.
page down. It's the
Is
same
it?
as
Okay.
page down. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So, and if you are going right, we do the same thing. Just now you're using the right arrow. So Control Shift right takes us to the last column.
Amazing.
And if I want to pick everything, Control Shift right and then down picks everything if I don't want to use Control A.
Oh, okay.
So yesterday we did all of these shortcuts. So it might be worth looking at that, checking out that video, because that's exactly, we looked at a few of them yesterday. Yeah, keyboard shortcuts. And the essence of using them is just to improve our efficiency, speed when we're working with Excel. Okay, so let's see if we can quickly group data within the next 5-10 minutes. So I'm going into Power Query now. Can someone remind me how to get back into our Power Query?
Let's go to data.
Yeah.
From table range.
We are going into Power Query. From table range is going to pick all of this and take it to Power Query, but we already have it in Power Query.
Oh, okay.
So we are not taking this afresh. We're just going back to what we've done before in Power
Oh, I
Query.
thought it wasn't in Power Query. That was why. No,
Yes.
so what's the difference now? You know, there was a time we used that table range to go into Power Query. Oh, if it's in a range, right?
Yes. If you are already looking at the data you want to get into Power Query, it's already right there in front of you in your Excel, then you are getting it from that table range. Example, like you said, if I was taking this into the products now into Power Query, and I want to use get data, and I'm working within that same Excel sheet. So rather than say get data and be looking for another source, the source is right here in front of me. So I'm just going to go into from table range straight away. That is from the table range we can see here. Let's see what that cursor says. You know, if we read what it says from table range, create a new query from the selected table, named range, or array in this workbook. If the selected data isn't part of one of these already, it will be converted into a table, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But my question now is that just looking at this data, how do we know it has already gone through Power Query before? How?
By coming here. So when you told me we go into data, when you click on queries and connections, data, queries and connections, it will open up this pane here on the right-hand side. And you can see if there was anything, any query in Power Query before. It shows if there was nothing,
to show zero.
Nothing. Yeah.
To show zero query. Oh,
yeah.
now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. Because I just by looking at the data alone, you won't know.
Yeah,
except
that's
you
right.
click on queries and yeah.
That's
because
right.
I know we clicked on a range then that it shows zero query.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, now it's making sense. Thank you.
That's
Thank
correct.
you so much.
You're welcome. So, and if I don't want to right click from here to get into Power Query, if I click on here, the box we just saw just now. There was a box, it's open now, and there was edit on it. That's what I wanted to show, that we can use the edit that's on there as well to get here. Okay. So we had this already, but we only brought in 2018 sales. Let's try something. Let's say we want to still bring in one of the other tables into here. Okay. What I mean by that is, we've got 2018 sales in Power Query already. We don't have product locations and all of that. Okay. So, and if we go into our Power Query, if we try to get one of them in, the only place in Power Query you can use to get data in is this. It says new source or recent sources. If I click on recent sources, okay, it brings all this. If I say new source and I actually want the Excel workbook where I am in right now, it's not really giving me the option that I want. I would have loved to see maybe table range here as well, just to show you that I want something within that's already within the workbook that we are currently using. But let's see, if I'm on products and I say from table range, is it going to create a new one? Okay, actually it worked. It didn't create a new Power Query or anything. It just brought in the products table that I wanted to bring in. Okay, so, and I haven't tried that before, so it's good to see that you can always get as many tables from within the same Excel workbook that you're working with just by clicking on from the table. Just make sure you are on the table range, you are on the right tab that you want to bring in. Okay, now what I wanted to do, let me quickly do that because our time is really going. So I want a new source, and I believe this is I think it's an Excel workbook, either Excel or text CSV. It's in here, and it starts with an underscore. If not, okay, so it's an Excel workbook. This one is one of the tasks that Mr. Ferdinand, sent us in the Power BI class. And it's got on it, so I'm bringing that in quickly. It's got grouping data on it, so I'm thinking we can quickly use it to learn how to group our data. Just charging my laptop before it goes off. Okay, so it's starting already. So this is the one, expenses is the one I just brought in, which is this one. And let's quickly have a look at this. I think it looks like something we've used before.
Yes.
It looks, yeah, yes. See, what did we even call it, Seth? Expenses claimed. Because I've seen date claimed before, the branch, the name, and we had it for different. Did we have it for different places? Leeds, Manchester, and Liverpool. Remember that data set that we did before when we appended? I think it's from.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So which means we could have used that to just continue doing our grouping. Okay, let's say we want to group data now. And my major to group is the amount. I want to group this amount either by the name or by the branch, maybe by the dates or by the category, okay? So if we go to group by, which is under home, it should open up this, okay? It says specify the column to group by and the desired output, okay? Specify the column to group by and the desired output. New column name, operation, okay? And it says column here, okay? So let's say we call this group by. or grouped or group, whatever that is, group, okay. The column that we want to group by, we want to group by branch, okay, and we want it to be sum of the amount, okay. I'm hoping I'm doing it the right way. So specify the column to group by and the desired output. I want to group by branch. This is my new column name, and I want it to be summed up and the column to sum up this amount. Let's see what that brings to us and see what it's done. It's gone on to, I wish, let me undo that and we can duplicate this and compare the two results. Okay, so I'm going to undo the group and then duplicate this quickly. So duplicate. So we've got, what did I duplicate? The wrong thing. That's not what I want. I want expenses duplicated. Okay, so this is going to be our group data. Then we do that again. So under home, we go to group by, and we say we want to group by branch, and we did put group. And we're not counting rows, we are summing. Meanwhile, we can use any of this function, by the way, but I want to see the total sum that's claimed according to the branches that are in this data set. And the column is amount. And we say, okay. And say it's gone on to just sort of summed up how much each branch, how much was claimed from each branch, basically. So all of what we had from Southampton was that amount. Banbury was that amount, and so on and so forth. And you can go on to close and load this and do a chart, a visualization to showcase this. And that's not the only thing we could have grouped by, you know. So if I make another duplicate, and we decide to, this time around, let's group by, let me have a suggestion. What should we group by this time? Let's look at the
Name.
Category.
So we're saying category,
Category.
and the name, we can still call it group because they are not in the same table anyway. So, and we want to see the sum still, and is the amount definitely okay, and we can okay that. What did I put in? I put something wrong in, so let's go back inside and see. Yeah, we did category, isn't it? So that's right. I thought I did name. Okay, so when we did by branch, so if we call this branch group, or yeah, branch group, that should be fine. And if we call this
Category.
Category group. Okay, so, and then by category now, it's gone on to see this, how much went into travel, vehicle mileage, phone, accommodation. And so what it's done is it's gone on to remove duplicates from category for this table. It removed duplicates, but rather than throw away the data for the duplicated copies, it's gone on to sum them all up. So where you have travel duplicated many times, it's picked just one travel, but the value for the rest of the travels have all been added onto the one travel that it has picked. And the same it has done for Southampton as well, you know. So in a way, we can, you know, see some relationship between these three. We can decide to call these facts table if we want to, and these being unique tables can be a form of lookup because we've got unique data that's running through them. Ideally, that's not how analysis works, but I'm just trying to bring out the concept of, fact table and lookup table, if you get what I mean. Because in here, all of those categories are many, and all of those branches are also many here, but they are uniquely what they are here, So they can easily be joined in a relationship one to many. So this will be joining one to many here, and this would also be joining one to many here. I'll leave this so that we can actually practice that when next we are here. Let's do just one last one grouping. And somebody did say date claimed. I had a female voice that said date claimed. Should we do that as well? Was that the suggestion? Is that Sister Felicia?
No, I said name.
Name, okay. So let's quickly do name. So let's group by name. Yeah, it's there. And we want to call this
Employee.
Employee, okay, employees. And we want to sum up the amount each person has spent. So yeah, that's right. Okay, I've done it on the original one, which is fine. I mean, but we can see the if we look at the bottom here, we've got 58 rows now. So which means it was a total of 58 people that claimed, that made all those claims, because these names here are very unique now. Okay. Yeah, ideally these names should be unique is what I should say. Okay, except we've got where we have Noah Johnson, 2 Noah Johnsons. So this is where the mistake could come with names now. The way we have done this now, we could be summing up employees got put here. We could be summing up many Kia Thompsons if there's more Kia Thompsons. You get what I'm saying? If there are more people that are bearing that. So this is where Kia Thompson needs to keep their data well. And if they are given, this much, that's what they have spent, they can all go on and argue so that some corrections can be done with how their data is structured. Maybe it won't be, they would need somewhere where if you've got middle name, just to differentiate between another person who's bearing a similar name, where that could help. But yes, that is how we group data within Power Query. It's quite powerful. It's a nice skill to know how to do. You never know when you would need it. But do we have any question on this?
Sorry, so where you made an error and did it on the main expenses,
yeah,
how would you regain your data of that expenses of the
original?
Was the expenses?
The original
you did a
table itself.
second expense table and then you started working with that.
Yeah.
So where you've made an error now, how do we regain that previous data?
So what and that's a good question. What I'll do is I'll come remove the steps I've done on the right hand side, applied steps. I'll come remove that step I did. So this is my original data. Then I will duplicate this like I've done for the rest.
Before. Okay.
And redo, yes. And redo
okay.
That same step now. Yes. Okay. So then we can quickly, please talk me through how I'll group this now. I want to do what we did earlier just now for names.
We click on group by.
Yes.
And the name.
Yeah, we got name.
And then we can write employee grouping or something. No, it was employee, because we did the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
What? Okay. And then click on that and put sum.
Sum.
And then click on it, amount.
amount.
No, we need to, okay.
And we need to do what?
I think you call the name amount or something. You call something, you do.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do
she made, I was trying to tell her she made.
Yeah,
in
well,
that box.
because when I called it employee before, we had employee on here, and this is an amount. You get what I'm saying?
All right, again.
Oh, right, okay.
Even here, the same thing. We called it group, but that should be amount.
Okay.
So we didn't there was an oversight. We didn't see that mistake before until the third step. That
Okay.
was when I saw it.
Yeah.
So we can come in here and change that name to amount as well. You know. And if we come here, go back into the formula itself and change it there. Yes, and really that's how we can see from here 17 rows, which means we've got 17 different categories that this business claims, they claim under these 17 categories. For branch, we've got 13, so they've got 13 branches, you know, and for staff, they've got 58 staff members that claimed at the time that we are looking.
Okay, so when sis, when you do then have two Kian Thomas in the same whatever, how do you now differentiate if you still want to get the amount each person claimed? How do you do that?
That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that maybe name is not the best way to do this. And if within the database that had been an issue at some point, something has to be flagged such that people who have their middle name can start using their middle initials to form a bit of differentiation.
Yeah, because there's no second Felicia, we know that, but just assuming there's a second Felicia somewhere.
Exactly.
So
And
maybe
you can have same
ideally employee ID.
Employee.
Ideally, yes, employee ID, it always forms part of, importantly, always forms part of something like this anyway. So employee ID then would have been what is used here. And they can have their names as well in front, just to know. I mean, you can't identify people just by the ID. The ID just helps the data to function well. So for the purpose of identification, as I also want to see the name, so I can see, okay, this is the ID for the first Kian Thompson, and then for the next Kian Thompson. And we can see that, okay, it wasn't just one person that claimed over 20,000. There were more. Okay. And that's about the work that I had in mind for us today. Any question at all? Okay. I was, let me stop recording. I was